Hey y'all, Eric Adcock, This Awkward Life. Today is Monday, January 19th, 2026. This is my attempt to do a podcast every day of the day, every day all year of 2026. You know, someone had called me today and they asked me, they're getting their opinion from certain people about prayer. And, you know, I don't claim to be this, deep prayer warrior or anything like that. But I had to, had to really tell them, what some of the things that I feel like successful prayer is. And one of them is just, honestly, is just be yourself. You ever know anybody that when they get ready, like they're just you and, you're you and your best friend or whatever, and just hanging out talking, but somebody else new comes in, they try to speak a little bit more properly and they try to pronounce everything perfectly. And they just have this, they're not from Mississippi anymore. All of a sudden they're from California, Florida, something like that. And they're just trying to really be somebody totally different. And that's just not, not good, It's like they switched to some kind of different person, They use bigger words. They sound calmer. They sound more wiser, more spiritual, There's probably a medical condition for that. And it's probably, multiple personalities or whatever. But I've always felt like that, and when being asked me about that question, I said, well, I said, I don't know. I said, I think honestly just being real and being who you are when you pray. Like God doesn't expect us, He doesn't expect us to become somebody else. If you legitimately read on like a third, fourth grade, level, I don't read on a high level and I don't have a huge vocabulary. So when I go to pray, I don't use a lot of words that I'm not understanding. I talk to God like I would talk to other people. Of course, there's reverence there, of course, but you don't just up the ante and start using these big thous and these and thuses and things like that. Effective prayer is when you approach God honest and just be yourself. You talk like you talk. You don't try to impress Him. You just, because here's the deal. God already knows where you're at. He knows everything about you. And so I was glad I didn't really have a subject to talk about today. Like I was trying to do these podcasts every day, something I really want to do. And so when Ben called me or texted me about this, I'm like, wow, this may be something I need to talk to, And, if anything that I've learned is like I have this acting bug in me, and I like to act and be in skits and things like that. But if I've learned anything, if prayer feels like something you have to prepare a character for, you'll have to avoid it. I know there's sometimes that, if you've got I play some difficult roles and some very emotional roles in some of the things we do. And it's hard to prepare for that. If I had to prepare to talk to God like if I was playing, John Sullivan or somebody like that, that'd be hard to do. Prayer becomes a place you can go, and if I'm having to pretend I'm somebody else, then it's just going to frustrate me, So I'm trying to be just me, just try to be me. Approach God. Hebrews 4:16 says, let us then approach God's throne with grace and confidence. Not like in confidence on how I should sound, but just confidence that I'm welcome there. And just be yourself. If prayer has felt awkward to you like it has me at times, just be yourself, talk plainly, use scripture and truth, not for decoration, but just for basis. And stop pretending God already knows where you're at. Prayer is just agreeing to meet Him there. And honestly, that fits pretty well with this awkward life. Hey, I appreciate y'all. Y'all have a great night. Bye-bye.